Hi, hello, and welcome to the Love the Mom podcast. I am Jerry, and as always, I'm joined by my spectacular mother, Christi.
Hi, everyone, and I love the adjective. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, this week's a little different. Last week we talked about Dr. Strangelove, a very artsy, dramatic, suspenseful comedy. And this time we're looking at Breakin', the hit Canon Films breakdance movie from 1984, I believe.
That is right. Did you love it? I've been dying to talk to you about this.
Well, on the last episode when we were talking about Breakin', I mentioned that I saw the first 15 minutes and loved it.
Yes.
Now, that was a mistake, and a terrible one at that, because I have not seen the first 15 minutes of this movie. I have seen the first 15 minutes of Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I was very disappointed when I watched Breakin' because the Electric Boogaloo is so much fun, and it's a big cartoon. And that's what I kind of like about it, is that it has a lighter tone and it's just goofy. But this one, it's gritty. I was not expecting that from this movie. I was like, oh, okay, it's just going to be a movie about people breakdancing.
Yeah.
But no, there's stuff going on here, like some actual commentary, and I was not expecting that from Breakin'.
Oh, well, I'm glad you were pleasantly surprised in that way. I think I saw Electric Boogaloo, but I don't really remember anything about it. This is the one that I watched over and over and over again and could quote to you verbatim.
Oh, okay.
So I am anxious to see the second one just to see that change in tone because
Me
I
too.
don't remember it at all. So yeah, it's exciting.
Me too. But this one is interesting because Dr. Strangelove is not one that I'm like super nostalgic for, but this is one that you are very nostalgic for. So
Very.
much so, I'm pretty sure you watched this with your sister, didn't you?
I did. So some behind the scenes, I thought for sure there was somewhere I could be streaming Breakin', but alas, that was not the case. So I had to order it. So I have a hard copy of it,
That's the
which is
same
so
one I
exciting.
have.
Look at us. We're Breakin' twins. So anyway, so I had plans to watch it with my sister Kara, and then I couldn't find it anywhere. And in fact, this is my favorite. Who was it that found it? I can't remember if my sister found it or if my daughter Jenna found it. But either way, we started watching Breakin'. I'm like, the audio on this is horrible. Like, we found a way to stream it on YouTube.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh man, this audio is bad, but like we can push through. This will be fine. Like, I've seen it enough times. It's not a big deal. As soon as there's dialogue in the diner, it's in Spanish. I was like, okay. I know this movie, but I don't know that I want to watch the entire thing in Spanish. No subtitles, no nothing, just Spanish. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. And I was so sad and disappointed. And then I ended up having to order it because I could not find it anywhere. So yes, my sister and I watched it. And if you could have been in the room with us, we were squealing and, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. It was great. I loved it.
Well, that's exciting because that's what I'm more interested in, is your reactions now, because you watched this
Yeah.
when you were a kid. And how
Yes.
long has it been since you've seen Breakin'?
I mean, I don't think I've seen it since I graduated from high school. So that would have been in 1990, 35 years ago. I can't believe that. 35 years ago was the last time I think I saw it. And oh man, it was just so fun. I loved it so much. Like the opening credits when they're spray painting on the wall,
yeah.
everyone's stuff, and it's nope, I did. Does it better? Like we're like we were dancing and singing and having a great time. It was so fun. I loved it.
Oh man. Yeah, this is like the most 80s movie ever,
Oh
I
yeah.
think. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the 80s were like marked by a bunch of like big blockbusters, but this feels like the most like indicative of 80s culture, where it's like the
Absolutely.
fashion and the music and the lingo. Like it is so 80s. It is unreal.
Very, very, very 80s. And it's funny that you mentioned that because like I have my laptop in front of me. I'm going to take notes while we're watching this. And I started a list of 80s fashion trends that I had
Oh.
not thought about since I lived it, you know?
Hmm.
And of course, when you live it, it's like, oh gosh, this is so edgy. Look at them with the flap on the back of their baseball hat,
All right.
which my brother had. I hadn't thought about a baseball hat with those little flaps forever. Anyway, it was just really fun because there are things that you see in culture, the fluorescence and
Hmm.
like the bright eyeshadow, which definitely was a thing. And they were not wearing, ironically, which is so fun.
Right.
But there were things that I have not seen come back during the second iteration of 80s, fashion and culture,
Yeah.
like the baseball hats with the flaps on them. Um, yeah, so that was fun because I feel like these last few years when we've been going back to 80s stuff, it's
Hmm.
like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. But that one I hadn't seen. So it was very fun to see it.
Yeah, that's interesting. With like the Stranger Things 80s revival stuff, where there's like maybe a couple things that the people who are making these, they like, oh well, the music. We have to talk about the music and the bright colors and like,
Mhm.
but there's stuff like that. And the stuff that's in Breakin where I'm like, I can't believe anyone wore that. And like
Oh, and we did.
yeah.
The other one, so I was a dancer up through high school. And those outfits she was wearing with the the leg warmers, of course. Everyone had the leg warmers. But that outfit with it's like there's a bikini bottom over the top of
Oh yeah.
a unitard. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, that was the thing. You will also see that fashion in the movie Staying Alive with John Travolta. Um, the female dancers in that one wear that too. That is the thing. So you wear like a loose, like wide sweatshirt cropped on top
Uh-huh.
with like a full body unitard underneath, and then that little like underweary looking thing.
Yeah.
I had those outfits when I went to dance class. That is what I wore. And that was one of the things we had a conversation about was my sister's like, oh, it's so gross. It looks so gross. I'm like, she looks fabulous. I don't know what you're talking about. I loved it.
Oh man. Well, I mean, talking about fashion, that's like a big
Yeah.
part of the movie. That's like
Hmm.
one of the main ways that the movie communicates that Lucinda Dickey, what's her name? I forgot already.
Kelly.
Kelly. That's like the main indicator that like Kelly is an outsider. She's
Right.
not part of the street dancing like Turbo and Ozone. And I'm like, that's really that's actually good filmmaking. Like having these like
Yeah.
visual signifiers of being like, it isn't that she looks like everyone else and she's just an outsider because, oh, you're not from here. It's like,
Right.
no, you actually see it and you're being told a story through the visuals. And I was like, not expecting that at all
Yeah.
from this movie.
I think it's interesting too. The guy that's her friend, that's kind of he's friends with
Oh,
both
yeah.
groups, friends with her and friends with Ozone and Turbo. Like they go to where they're dancing. I think it's what beach? Ventura Beach. And yeah, and he's still in his tights, the two of them are out there jamming out in their tights. Um, but yeah, I just and there were not a lot. There were a few references in this to the fact that that character was gay. I
Yes.
never caught that as a kid.
Really?
Never caught it. No.
That was
And
so.
I I was like, whoa, I don't remember that. That's so interesting. It was so funny. Anyway,
Man, the whole
yeah, I mean
time.
that's an example of like you watch something in a certain context, and of course, LGBTQ issues and people were not as much out and about
Right.
as now, like not as much as part of the conversation, or even if that was the case, it was like tamped way down.
Mhm.
So I didn't even catch that. And so I think just, living in the culture we live in now and being more familiar with those things, it was like, oh my gosh, how did I miss that? I don't know how I missed that, but it had totally gone over my head. I
I
really
can't
enjoyed it. I
believe
thought it was really great.
that. That felt like it was so over the top where I'm like, I can't believe that this flew in the 80s.
Yeah.
But
Well, 12-year-old Christy didn't even notice. So,
well, I
yeah.
guess, yeah. But I was like, wow, that is
Mhm.
bold. But I guess like,
Yeah.
and that's something that we'll probably talk about is Canon Films, the company that
Yeah.
made this movie.
Mhm.
Um, it's a weird story. They're kind of a flash in a pan. They were like around through like the late 70s through the 80s, and then they died in the early 90s.
Mm.
And they for the most part, I think they started as like an exploitation thing, like basically making softcore, whatever. And then they like got into like
Softcore what? Are we softcore what?
you get it.
Is it
And
what you're okay? I'm like, we talking about the same thing? Okay, got it,
you
got
know,
it. Go
like
ahead.
like an exploitation movie from the 70s. That's kind of
Okay.
the vibe.
Okay, go
Um,
for it.
yeah, so they did that, and then like they really found success in the early 80s and the mid 80s, making over the top, super patriotic action movies starring
Oh.
Charles Bronson and Chuck Norris, Michael Dudikoff, John Claude Van Damme. If you think about any of those movies, it's probably a canon movie. So like the
Okay.
Death Wish movies and stuff like that.
That is a real departure, but also, do you know the tie that you just said? Did you see John Claude Van Damme in this movie?
He's in the movie?
Oh my gosh, you need to go back. That dance scene we started talking about, the first time they meet each other and they're out there dancing,
Uh-huh.
he is standing behind them in a singlet,
Oh,
in a
really?
black singlet, like totally getting his jam on and like being in their faces, and he has
Oh,
no rhythm and he's being like super big, and you need to go back and watch it.
I
He's
did not.
very right in the center of the frame.
How did
John
I
Claude Van
miss
Damme.
that?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
wild.
It is super wild. So that's interesting that he ends up being like one of their actors from
W-
their movies.
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of had a stable because Lucinda Dickey is one that was in a bunch of canon movies.
Oh,
She actually starred in a ninja movie before this called
oh,
Ninja 3 something.
hmm.
But she plays a martial arts ninja. Or no, she plays a normal lady who gets possessed with the spirit of a dead ninja
Whoa.
because because that was like the only way that they thought that they could get a female protagonist in an action movie was to have her be
Oh,
controlled by a man.
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's very 1980s.
yes. That's kind of the vibe of all of them. All of
Yeah.
those movies kind of have like, well, you need to have the big macho man. He needs to
Hmm.
shoot brown people. And it's like that's kind of the MO of canon films. But
Okay.
yeah, this feels weird. It feels like when I found out that Breakin and Breakin 2 were canon movies, it kind of blew my mind because I'm like,
Yeah.
why? But I guess the story is that one of the founders of Canon Films, I think his name is Menachem Golem, and
Mm.
he and his daughter were walking down Venice Beach, and they saw a breakdancer, and his daughter was like, "You should make that a movie, Dad." And he said, "Okay." So then they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And when you said Venice Beach, I'm like, yes, that's what it was supposed to be, was Venice Beach and not Ventura Beach.
Oh.
Go for it. That's very nice. Good. Thank you. I was like,
Every
it starts with a B. I can't remember.
it all comes
That's
back
what a
around.
weird story. That is really interesting that
Yeah.
that's the origin. Hmm.
Yeah, and it's weird too because they never really made another one like it. Like as soon as they were done with the Breakin' movies, they went back to action stuff.
Hmm.
And then like in the maybe late 80s, early 90s, they came out with like the Masters of the Universe movie and
Hmm.
Superman 4. Uh
Okay. That's
big
interesting.
big blockbuster movies that they both flopped terribly.
I was gonna say, I don't even remember Superman 4. I remember 1 through 3 very clearly, but number 4 I don't remember, so
There's
it
a
must have
reason.
really.
Yeah, it was not very good at all. Neither was the
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe movie. And then the entire studio shut down.
I mean, how
So,
can you top He-Man, right? The animated version.
well, yeah, I think in that movie they send He-Man to Los Angeles, and he's just like
What?
running around the city, and it's Dolph Lundgren.
Oh my gosh. Didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
it's
Wow.
it's kind of a notorious like terrible movie, Masters of
Wow.
the Universe. So yeah,
Yes.
an interesting story, Canon Films, and it's
Yeah.
very weird.
That is
Um,
very interesting
yeah,
to learn. Yeah. I mean, I saw a ton of Chuck Norris movies in high school,
yep.
which, as you know, war movies are not really my thing, but that was what everybody else was watching. So that's what I watched. And Jean, I don't know, I'm having such a hard time saying his name. Jean-Claude Van Damme too. I've watched a lot of those. The big scene that I can think of with him is when he was doing the splits between
Oh yeah.
two some things. I don't remember what the two things were, but I just remember being like, oh my goodness, look at that guy. That's just really painful.
uh,
That really stood out.
well, that's one thing I'll give Canon is that like a lot of B movies from this era were like, well, we're just gonna run around the woods. We're gonna
Mm,
get someone in a monster costume and we're gonna run around. But
yeah.
Canon, if there was an idea that was like that would be cool if we did that, they did that. Like they
Mm,
always went like I'm not gonna say above and beyond, but they
hmm.
did what was expected of them. Where it was
Yeah.
like in the Chuck Norris movie Invasion USA, he drives a truck through a mall and destroys the entire thing with a giant like
Wow.
and I'm like, you just wouldn't get that from any other B movie around the time.
No. Wow. That's impressive. I've never
Yeah.
even heard of that movie before.
That's like I think that might be their most popular movie. Well,
Really?
except for Breakin' 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
So they didn't do the other ones that were like the bigger Chuck Norris ones, like, oh
um
shoot, there was something with Delta in the name of it. I can't remember
maybe.
the name of it. Maybe they did some of his smaller ones where he was just starting out. I
It's
don't
possible.
remember.
I think it was when he was first starting out. They were
Okay.
they were
Okay.
doing that. Yeah.
Got it.
Because
Got it.
I watched a documentary, The Electric Boogaloo: The Wild Untold Story of Canon Films, as research for
Mm.
this video.
Uh-huh.
And they do like briefly talk about that, where they're like, don't give Chuck Norris any lines, don't give him any acting because he's not capable. Just give him a big gun and have him shoot people. That was kind of
Oh.
what it
So
came.
in this, I was gonna watch that documentary next
Mm.
for the next time we do.
Oh, okay.
But I'm wondering, is it with the creators of like with the people who are running Canon Films, or is it interviewing the people from Breakin? What like who's in that
So, well,
documentary?
that's the most interesting thing is that they get a lot of the cast and crew of the people that were
Mm,
working in these movies. They don't mention, well, they do mention the two creators a lot. That's what the whole
oh,
documentary
okay.
is about, but they're not in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, okay.
but I think they even have a thing at the end of the documentary where they're like, we reached out to Golan and Globus and they both refused. And now
Oh,
they are making a documentary about Canon Films, but we're going to beat them out.
oh,
Because that was like a big
oh,
thing. They were like, because there was another breakdance. I think it was like Hot Street or something,
oh, I
another
don't.
breakdancing
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
But
I don't know that one.
they were racing against Hot Street for Breakin'. They
Oh,
were like, we need to be the first breakdance movie.
I
And
see.
so like so then that's what the documentary is like, haha, we played them at their own game. We got our documentary out before theirs. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, that is one thing. Like I watched it in preparation for this, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't. It's interesting the like actual firsthand accounts
Yeah.
of a lot of the people there. Like they interview all of the people from
Hmm.
Breakin', Lucinda Dickey
Hmm.
and Boogaloo Shrimp, and I don't remember what the other guy's name is. Um,
I've got it written down right here.
okay,
It is Shabadoo.
Shabadoo.
Adolfo Shabadoo Quinones.
Yes, and he did not have very good things to say about
Oh.
Breakin' 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is really proud of Breakin' 1. He was like,
Mm.
it told our story and it really showcased our abilities. And he's like, the second one, it became a cartoon and it took the grit out of it. And he was like, I still cry
Oh.
about it. And
Oh
that
no.
interview was like in the mid 2010s, and I'm like,
Oh
oh,
my
that's
gosh.
so sad.
That is really sad. Well, and I feel like maybe I did a little bit of a deep dive on each of them
Hmm.
just to see, like what they did after this. And I will tell you that the person that played Ozone, and which is Shabadoo,
Hmm.
He had the most, like the longest list of credits of
Really?
everyone of those three. He actually died in 2020. During the
Oh,
making of this movie, let me just tell you their ages when they made this movie, because
okay.
this was shocking to me. So Ozone was 29. I'm going to use their movie names just because it's faster.
Okay.
Ozone's 29. Kelly was 24.
Okay.
And Turbo was 17. I could tell that Turbo was young, but I had no idea we were talking about a 17-year-old there. That blew my mind a little bit.
I'm shocked Ozone is 29.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, I was like, this is, I don't know. That's quite a range. You have 12
Yeah.
years difference between the three main characters of this movie. In the movie, I heard Lucinda say, or Kelly say, that she was almost 20 and she's already washed up. So
Right.
she was playing younger.
Yeah.
For sure. Um, but yeah, Ozone's 29
That's
was
crazy.
surprising. But just like as a little aside, just so you can kind of get an idea of his career going forward, he had some really interesting connections. So
Hmm.
he actually ended up dying in 2020. He is no longer living. The other two are still around,
Okay.
but he is not. He choreographed for Lionel Richie, Madonna, Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson, Shaka Khan.
Wow.
Like he had a very successful career as a choreographer and as a dancer, and he would appear in videos and stuff. He
Mm.
was in the I Feel For You video by Shaka Khan, which there's a
Oh.
bunch of Shaka Khan music in this movie too, which is so fun. Um, and the I Feel For You video also had Turbo. So the two of them were
Mm.
both in it, which
Oh,
is
okay.
super, super fun. Yeah, I love that. And then he was also a member of the original, the name of the group was the Original Lockers, in quotes.
Okay.
And they really shone in the area of popping and locking. That was
Mm.
kind of their specialty. But in that group of dancers was Tony Basil. Who's Tony Basil, you might ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Yeah, Tony Basil.
Oh.
That is Tony Basil. And that was her only hit from the 80s. But if you watched the video, it's a cheerleading, like
Mhm.
everyone's in cheerleading outfits. And I knew she was a dancer. I had no idea she was a break dancer. That was very interesting to me.
Hmm.
So that was an interesting little tie together. And then, okay, so then Michael Boogaloo Shrimp Chambers, who is Turbo, he also worked with Lionel Richie, was in the video for All Night Long by
Mm.
Lionel Richie.
Oh.
He was in the Paula Abdul video Opposites Attract. And he also had a couple movie credits and some TV credits as well. But his movie credits were he was in Naked Gun 33 and a Third, The Final Insult.
Uh-huh. That
And
makes sense.
he played Good Robot Bill in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, because I think
Yeah.
they do breakdance or they do some sort of like robotic movement. So,
Right. Right.
wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's super cool. And then Kelly Lucinda, she was in one of my favorite movies, also of childhood, Grease 2. She was a dancer in Grease 2. And she was also on the show Solid Gold, which was a dancing show where they would play like the newest hits and they had their dancers and they would be out there dancing and their costumes were always amazing. And think kind of like, oh shoot, Soul Train.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, except Soul Train is like a lot more groups of people.
Uh-huh.
Solid Gold would be like, oh, they have a group of 3 people and they're going to do this choreographed dance to this
Oh.
particular song. And it's like a hit song of that moment, you know? Or there would be like individual solos where they would dance, but it was very much like a jazz, more jazz or interpretive dance sort of stuff, not necessarily any breakdancing.
Oh.
So those were her 2 main credits. And then she kind of disappeared from the dance scene when she got married and had kids and stuff. But so just to give you an idea, especially Shabadoo and Boogaloo, they both had pretty robust careers when it comes to, just what was happening in the zeitgeist at the moment. It was always a big thrill when I would turn on a video. I'm like, that's Ozone, that's Ozone. Oh my gosh. I would freak out. It was so exciting. So, yeah, they both were I was really impressed with that roster of musicians like Madonna, Michael Jackson. That's no joke there.
Mm-mm.
So anyway,
Wow.
they both went on to have very successful dance careers.
Well, I'm
which I thought
glad
was
to
really.
hear that. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like sometimes you watch a movie from this era and you're like, wow, that is amazing. I want to see what else they're
Hmm.
in. Nothing. And
Nothing. Yeah.
it's like, man, that's so disappointing. But I'm really glad that yeah, they had a really good career. That's great.
They did. And I will say, like, as I was watching the movie this time, I need you to go back 35 years and imagine
Okay.
that you've never been exposed to anything like this
Mhm.
before.
Yeah,
And you're watching this, other than maybe like Michael Jackson moonwalking, right? Because
sure.
that would have been around that time. To watch that scene with the broom where he's outside of the shop and he's sweeping the front step, and to watch those movements and the way they're able to move on concrete with their tennis shoes on is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we had never seen anything like that before. I live in Iowa. Not out
Right.
in California where things are edgy and cool. Like we're a good decade behind everyone else.
Right.
And so it was like this was revolutionary and uh, amazing. We were just so amazed by what they were able to do with their bodies. It was
Mhm.
it was so crazy and cool. And the fashion was really different and the dancing was incredible and the
Mhm.
music, like, ugh, that soundtrack, I love it so much. Like I could sing every song that was in that movie. Kara and I are sitting on the couch, we're just like dancing on the couch and singing along anytime one of our songs was playing. We just loved it so much. But the thing that cracked me up is the part with the broom when
Oh
he's
yeah.
doing that and he's supposed to be levitating it. I don't know if you could see the
Yeah,
fishing
you can
line.
definitely see it. Yeah.
That made me laugh. Anyway, that one scene I loved where it was like, the rest of this movie is there's a lot of movement
Mhm.
and there are a lot of things happening. Like you're watching the backgrounds and you're watching, you know, different things. And then it's like, but this one where he's just outside the front of this building messing around with a broom
Yep.
and just dancing. It was just so great. I loved it so much. It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, did you notice that there was a ton of fog and smoke in every single place? Like that dance studio was smoky and
I didn't.
everything. Yeah, they're like in a professional dance studio with the guy that's such a jerk. I can't
Yeah.
remember his name. And it's like so foggy. I turned to my sister. I'm like, people smoking in there? What's happening? Why is there so much smoke in this dance studio? This isn't healthy.
I didn't notice that, but I'm sure as I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
watch footage, it's gonna be super apparent.
Yeah. Well, you for sure need to go back and see the Venice Beach situation because I've
Yeah, I need
gotten
to
to
see.
watch it twice, once in Spanish and,
No.
and once in English. And it gets better every time you see it.
Did you know that Jean-Claude Van Damme was in that or like before, or did you just catch it this time?
I just caught it. No, yeah, no, I had no idea.
Mm.
No idea. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Both of us were looking like, oh my gosh, that looks like him. So then we're, of course, pulling up, Google, trying to figure
Right.
out if that really is him. And it is. So then we rewound it and we watched it again because it was so bad. I will give him that he was passionate. Like
Okay.
he has no rhythm and the dancing was horrible, but he was very passionate about it. And I appreciated the enthusiasm because half the time, half of the extras looked like they were sleeping on their feet.
Yeah, yeah. Or they were just going,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's so bad.
oh yeah.
And like, you think because that then of course makes me think. So I used to do some acting stuff. I've been extras and things.
Mhm.
And you think, oh, 12 hours, they were probably in that club with the dance battles.
Yeah,
Watching these people dance over and over and cut and do it again and cut and do it again. And
yeah.
after a while, it takes everything you've got to muster any sort of enthusiasm
Right.
for what you're doing. And there were definitely scenes in there where I was like, oh, these people have been standing for too long. They need a little break, come back fresh. And yeah. But then you would have like the few ringers who are still like jamming out and being super animated. And everybody else is like step, touch, clap, clap.
Right.
I don't know. So it
Yeah,
made those other people really stand out.
that's true. Yeah, because they probably shot all those club scenes in 1 day or two
Absolutely, they
days,
did.
and it's just
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds horrible.
Yeah. Did you see the other cameo in that? Did you happen to catch
Well, I mean, Ice-T.
Ice-T?
I don't I don't know if that's a
We were
cameo.
both
He's
like,
in the whole
what?
thing.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
like he does all the rapping in the club. By the way,
Yeah.
it's terrible. He
Oh,
is
it's
like he
awful.
is awful.
Oh, it was so bad. Did you have subtitles on so you could read the lyrics? Because it was not good.
I think so. Well, actually,
Oh,
I'm not sure because I don't know if my DVD had subtitles. I think I was watching it with
oh,
headphones, but
okay.
I know, like, I'm pretty sure it was all just like super positive because that was kind of the wave he was on right there.
Yeah,
And he was just like, let's get
it was
together
cringy.
and dance. I love
Yeah.
dancing. We're in the club. I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, that did not age well. Not that
No.
it was inappropriate, but that it was like it was so cringy compared to what people do now. And I think that's
Well,
true with the
yeah.
dancing too. Anytime you watch something like you watch diving from 50 years ago and you
Right.
watch diving today, or you're listening to music from 50 years ago and you look at the complexity that we have today,
Yeah.
um, it definitely just, as far as quality goes, if you're judging it from today's standards, none of
Right.
this holds up, except for maybe some of the breakdancing does.
Some of
But
the dancing, yeah.
yeah, I mean, some of it is like, oh, people have come so far since then. But that
Right.
iced tea, I about died. That was
Yeah.
so funny.
I was like, oh man. Of all the people, why did they get iced tea? Because I'm pretty sure he's in the second one too.
Oh
Um,
no. Okay.
yeah, and
That's
it's
fun.
and he's doing the same thing. Uh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, I did catch iced tea. It would be pretty hard to
Yeah.
miss. But
Well, I hear him say his name at one point. There's a
that's true.
line in one of the raps that says iced tea. I was like, oh,
Hey, he had to get his name out there.
that's right.
He
I
wouldn't.
mean, this was probably a huge break for him.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. 1984. I don't remember rap being really
Um,
as much. Well, at least not in
no.
Iowa.
Well, yeah.
But
It was a
but yeah,
thing, but like, it was kind of like hip hop,
yeah,
hippity hop.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like that.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely had a different feel.
Yes.
Yeah, we both were like, that was so fun.
Oh man. But yeah, speaking of iced tea, that was one of the
Yeah.
things I loved about the end of the movie, where they
Hmm.
get the like show or whatever. Was it a show or were
Mm,
they doing like a stage
yeah.
performance or something?
It was some sort, I think it was a stage performance. I think it was a live performance. That was interesting, wasn't it? I had
I,
completely forgotten about that part.
but that was like something I loved was that like they used that platform to bring up all the people around them, even the people that they fought with. They were like,
Right.
they were good and they deserved to be in the show. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is just a lovely story about a community coming together. And even
Yeah.
though Ice T sucks, let's get him in the show so that he can do his little thing and we
Uh-huh.
can kind of dance to it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, so you had the people from the rival group, the dance offs. Oh my gosh, that just kills me. I'm
Yeah.
going to get in your face. I'm going to like gesture in your face. I'm going to get in your space. I'm going to go under your legs. These
Yeah.
dance battles were so bad. But and I'm like, that can't even be a thing. But also, when you're watching the end of it and you're seeing, oh yeah, those are the guys that they've been like
Yeah.
having a beef with this whole time. And they're the more formally trained dancers where Kelly comes
Oh,
out
yeah.
with so it's not even just the people that they're beefing with when it comes to breakdancing,
That's true.
but also the people that are classically trained. Like there's a place for everyone. There's a
Mm,
place for everyone when it comes to dance.
wow.
It
Yeah.
brings us together.
That was nice.
That was nice.
That was a good ending, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it too. I knew this and I remember this from when I was a kid. She cannot break dance for anything. I was
Oh
like,
no.
I'm watching their performance when they're doing the dance battle in the club. And I'm like, she's literally just tumbling. And then she'll be like, gesture, gesture. And then tumble, 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 gesture, gesture. I'm like, she's not dancing.
No.
She's not dancing. There's no way she beat that other girl because she was awesome. Although I didn't like her facial expressions, and I didn't like her facial expressions when I was a kid either. I'm like, she just doesn't seem very nice. She has angry face.
uh, well, the when you say that, it's kind of interesting because they do talk about that in a documentary. Lucinda
Mm,
like was like, I felt like I was an outsider, and like
mhm.
that was something that was kind of well, not necessarily hard to hear, but it was like Turbo and Ozone, they did not get along. They
Oh
it's not that they didn't
no.
get along with each other; they didn't get along with Lucinda Dickey.
Gasp. Oh
Yeah,
my
I
goodness.
know because and it was interesting. They were like cutting to that story, and then they were cutting to lines from the movie where like
Hmm.
where Turbo says like she's not one of us. She doesn't get what we
Oh,
do, and then
yeah.
like she's like kind of saying that like yeah, this is what I kind of felt the same way in
Oh,
real life,
yeah,
and I'm like that kind of sucks, but you know,
it does. But this is so like you can be an amazing dancer and not be able to break dance. And she
right?
obviously is an amazing dancer. Like you
Hmm.
watch her, she made a career out of it.
Yeah,
It's not that she's not talented, but breakdancing is very specific. And even being a super talented, classically trained dancer, there are people that cannot do what they do. I mean, it is
right.
just so singular. And watching it as an adult now, I feel bad for her because I'm like, because if she could do it, they would have had her do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? If
yeah,
she could do breakdancing, she would have done it and she couldn't. And so that part, like she's a great tumbler. That's amazing.
yeah,
But um and maybe, maybe that's an accurate portrayal of understanding that these two types of dances are both beautiful and are both require a lot of skill, but that doesn't necessarily mean that um, you're talented in every area,
right.
right? I'm sure if Ozone and Turbo had gone into her jazz class and tried to do leaps and spins and the things that they're doing, that it wouldn't have been pretty either.
No,
So, but it's just that her, unfortunately, the storyline is that she's uncomfortable and trying to learn in this space. And um, yeah, it would have been nice if they could have gotten someone who was maybe a better break dancer and was
yeah,
also classically trained, but it's very possible that that's a hard skill to find crossover in.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I just don't know.
I think, I mean, I don't even know if like dancing was really a part of it, like of why she got cast, because it was just like
Mhm.
she's worked with Canon before. She's
Mm.
attractive.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah. Well, we can
Yeah,
use her to sell. She's a name that we can put on a poster, and she's a face
yeah.
that people will want to see in a movie.
Sure, sure. I mean, she was not well known, I will say.
No.
Um, like as far as a name recognition,
Yeah,
uh,
that's true.
all three of these people were not people that had any, at least again, like quantifying the fact that I'm in Iowa. And so, maybe they did have a presence, maybe more on the coast, but certainly not in the middle of the US. And so they were all new to us. But it
Mm.
was just it was just so groundbreaking. This, this, um, this movie was just
Yeah.
so groundbreaking that there's no way you were going to watch something like this and not come away just in awe of
Yeah.
it, which is why we watched it a million times because,
Well, yeah.
as a dancer, I was in awe of what they were able to do. Um, just like I was of Michael Jackson when I'm watching him moonwalk. I mean,
Oh,
I can't
yeah.
even tell you when he did that. I just was, how is that happening? That's so amazing. Again, I'd never seen anything like it before.
Mhm.
I don't know. When you see the talent of people who are doing something new, it's just there. It is thrilling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked that. The other person in this movie that I recognized was the guy that played James. Did you recognize him? He played her
James.
agent.
Yes. What was he in? It was
He was
driving me
in Happy
crazy.
Gilmore. Um, shoot, I wrote it down. He was in Happy Gilmore, and he always plays a bad guy, like in all
Yeah.
the things. Because I looked him up, and I'm like, oh, he's always a sleazeball.
Yeah. I was
This
expecting
time,
him to
like
be
he
an evil
wasn't.
agent.
Yeah, he wasn't as bad this time. I didn't
No.
think as like some of the other things I've seen him in. The big thing I can remember right now is that one, unfortunately. But I know there are more. Grease 2. He was in Grease 2 as well. There you go. Him and Lucinda were in Grease 2 together.
Oh, okay.
But he played a bad guy in that. So
Oh.
anyway, yeah. So him, when he showed up, I was like, oh man, I've seen him a million times. And I know every time I've seen him, he's been a total jerk. And I remember watching this movie as a kid thinking he was a jerk, but I'm like, he really wasn't.
No.
Well, I mean, he was kind of trying to move in on her, and Ozone was threatened by that. But as far as like, he was really trying to get them in front of people,
Hmm.
trying to expose people to this style of dance and stuff. So, um, if you take the Kelly part out of it,
Yeah.
um, And I don't think he was being mean about it. I think he just was clueless about the
Yeah.
fact that Ozone had feelings for her. So,
Yeah.
so he wasn't really a bad guy, but I kept waiting for him to be a bad guy. And as a kid, I remembered him being a bad guy, but he really wasn't a bad guy.
No, he wasn't a bad guy. But I mean, as a kid, you're like, I want Ozone and Lady to get
Yep,
together.
that's
So,
right. That is exactly right. That is what I wanted
yes.
because he looked at her with so much love in his eyes. He loved her. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know about all that. I don't
He
know
did. Didn't
if
you see how he looked at her? And he was so jealous when her and James were holding hands. And what about that outfit she wore to that party? That red, giant, shoulder padded outfit with the gloves. I was like, oh boy, that does not age well. And Kara hated her hair. I'm like, everybody had that hair. I had that hair. She's like, I hate it. It's like a female mullet. I don't like it.
it is kind of mullety.
It is. It is. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
This
well,
was so much fun for me. So I do appreciate you watching it.
yeah.
I enjoyed it so much. I did not realize, you see things as a kid, you watch them a million times as a kid, and then you come back and you watch it again, and it just all comes back. It is so fun. It was so fun. I loved it. Did you
Well,
like it? How did you feel about it? What is a deep theme you'd like to talk about,
I don't
or
know
the
if there.
grit?
Well, the only grit really was just like the clash of worlds. And I think
Mm,
I don't know, I guess indicative of class, but I don't think we're not supposed to be thinking about this movie that much.
no,
It's
probably not.
it's just a
It's just
showcase of
enjoyable.
dancing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
it really is.
a movie that a dude made because his daughter saw a breakdance around the street and was like, I want to make a movie of that. And that's all
And
it
I
is.
think that's amazing. And also, I forgot to mention that amazing boombox. Did you see that amazing tricked out boombox they had?
Yeah.
It was so big and it had all these pretty colors on it. It was so cool. And all the graffiti,
Yeah.
like just seeing the sets and the things are so like you would think it was a joke, but it's for real. It's become such a thing, but they're so sincere in this moment.
Yeah.
The ear band with the teeth hanging off the side, like that was the coolest thing ever that
Oh
Ozone
yeah.
wears. I was like, oh my gosh, are those shark's teeth? What kind of teeth are those that are hanging off of his ear?
I was trying to figure that out too. I'm like,
Yeah,
what is he wearing? I thought it was a feather, but then it doesn't look like a feather in some shots.
no, it's teeth. It's teeth for sure, but I don't know if if they're like fake tiger teeth or something because they're
Oh,
here's what I'm thinking. Shark teeth are shorter and they'd be
yeah.
fatter. Like I'm actually thinking through the logistics of what teeth look like for
Uh-huh.
different animals. And I think they probably have to be a tiger or a lion or something and I'm hoping they're not real. I'm sure they were just whatever.
No. Yeah.
But like the ear band was huge. The ear
Mm,
band with things hanging off of it
a
was a real
band?
big deal.
It wasn't like a
Yeah.
piercing?
No, it's like a metal band that clips around the top part of your ear.
Oh.
If you look at it, it's kind of a thicker metal band. And
Oh.
so there's no piercing. It just clips around the top part of your ear there.
Okay. I did not know that. I just assumed it was a piercing.
No, I don't think so. It looked like an ear band. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. So anyway, that was fun. That was also a trend that I wrote down. Hold on, let me look. Let me see if I have any other amazing trends that I need to break up. I need to talk about. Oh, and that teacher, he was a sleazeball. That was interesting. Uh, the Yeah, that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like he was an incredible dancer. Like they gave him a couple scenes where he danced, but what a jerk. I couldn't stand that guy. I couldn't stand him. Okay, so these are the things I wrote down: the ear band,
Mm-hmm.
the dance outfit with the leg warmers, the bright eyeshadow, the baseball hat with the flaps, which is so cool. The James Brown hair. Did you happen to see the guy?
James
It's
Brown hair.
it is the guy who he was in the dance battle with. I think it was him. And so if he
Oh.
wasn't wearing his hat, it was like he had his hair straightened and it
Yeah.
was like in a pompadour sort of situation. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, that's not good.
It's
That
not
wasn't the
good.
best. That wasn't the best. It was very James Brown like.
Yeah.
It made him look like an old man. Like you just don't see young black men with that hair. Nobody
No.
straightens their hair and does like a blowout. It's just
No.
very different.
No, not today.
Anyway, not today. It made him look like an old man. Okay. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have anything else to say on Breakin'. I'm very excited for the sequel.
Yes,
Even though it makes
me
Ozone
too.
cry, it's gonna make me laugh, and I'm going to
Oh.
enjoy it a lot. I just
Did did Turbo not like it either, or was it just Ozone that was so sad about it?
they didn't really talk to Turbo. Well, at least his comments didn't make it in. It was just
Oh, okay.
Ozone, but like
Okay.
Ozone was talking a lot about like, um, this is breakdancing. We were doing it on the street, and this was our big shot, and like he was like
Mm,
really proud of like the work that went into it to putting his
sure.
community on a spotlight. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
respect that quite a bit.
sure.
And I was
Sure.
sad that he didn't like the second one.
Did he feel like it made a joke out of it?
Yeah.
Like it was oh, yeah, see, that doesn't feel good. I could
Yeah.
understand being sad about that.
He was like, it made us a caricature. And it was like, it
Mm,
felt like in the first one, it was a little real, which
yeah.
I can't believe that that felt real, but it's fine.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with the cardboard on the streets and people dancing
Oh,
on it, like
yeah.
that's for real. That is for real that happened, which
Oh, I'm
is
sure. Yeah.
yeah, it was so cool. Oh, and that cute little kid. I said to Kara, I'm like, what happened to that kid? He's so cute and he's so good. He didn't do anything. That was it. That was his one role in his whole life.
Wow.
I was like, surely he went on to dance somewhere else. He was so talented.
No,
He was so cute and
he's in
little.
finance now.
And finance.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, like I liked the scene where he was teaching kids how to break
Yeah, I
dance.
like that too.
I thought that was really, it showed a little bit of heart and that he was trying to give back
Yeah.
to their community and pass that talent along. So I really like,
Right.
and I liked that there were both boys and girls. That I liked that too,
Oh,
because it could
yeah.
have been a class of all boys, but to have some diversity in the group, and yeah, there was a yeah, it was good. I liked that. I thought that was
Yeah.
good.
There's a lot of diversity in this movie.
There is a lot of diversity in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there really is. I just it just made my heart sing. So it was fantastic.
Yes.
I don't have anything else to say about it. Sorry, I ended up coming back to it again.
That's
But
okay.
um, so are you ready for a James Earl Jones deep dive?
Sure.
I mean, a little off topic, but
That's fine.
last week we talked about him because he was in Doctor Strangelove,
Yes.
and I made some comments that I was trying to remember from many moons ago, and I realized that afterwards I looked it up and I was like, oh, I made a lot of mistakes. And when I listen to a podcast and people make a lot of mistakes, it drives me crazy. I talk back to my phone like, that's not right. So I want to correct it. And I want to call this section of the podcast Recollection Correction Corner. Recollection Correction Corner. I said it right the first time.
There
That is
you
what I want to call it. I want to set some things straight that I said last time.
go. Okay.
Okay. So, what I want to say is James Earl Jones. I talked about him like he was alive, and he has died. And I am sad because I had forgotten that he died back in September of 2024. James Earl Jones passed away.
Yep.
So, the first mistake that I made, the big one, was that I said that the play that he was in was called The Great White Way. The actual name of that play is The Great White Hope.
Mm.
And just to give you a short synopsis, he was playing the boxer Jack Jefferson, based on a true story. And the plot of that is that he was actually a boxer. The setting is from between 1910 and 1915, and he was a boxer and he was defeating a lot of white boxers.
Mm.
And so the title of this, The Great White Hope, is referring to the fact that the white community was out searching for some great white man who could beat him for the heavyweight title.
Oh, okay.
That's where the name of it came from. But there's also part of it is also about the fact that he was in a relationship with a white woman,
Mm.
which brought a lot of additional opposition to him as a person.
Yeah.
And it says it ends in tragedy. I have not seen it, so I don't know what that tragedy is, but so that's the story. So it started out as a play. Both he and his co-star Jane Alexander won Tonys for their performances in the play on Broadway, and then they revised. Did you say revised? It's a play and they make it into a movie.
Oh,
Reprised?
reprise their role. Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. They reprised the role in the movie of the same name in 1970.
Hmm.
and he was nominated for an Oscar, but
Oh,
he did not win. And also, side note, that was his only Oscar nomination of his entire career.
that's
So
shocking.
1970 was when that movie came out. Um, so he did win the Golden Globe that year, though, for being the most promising newcomer. That was one of the categories at the
Oh.
time. So he did win that. Also, as a side note, controversial, I guess. Jones has an EGOT. So that's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. But the controversy comes in the fact that he never won an Oscar, but he was awarded an Academy Honor Award. So basically, like a
Mm,
Lifetime Achievement Award
yeah.
in 2011.
Huh.
And so the controversy comes because they're like, because it was a non competitive award, does it count as an EGOT? So there's some like back and forth. People have opinions. But just as a side note, as something interesting, other people that have an EGOT in that way, as in they were given a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Oscar, was Christy, Barbara
You?
Streisand.
Oh.
No, I'm talking to myself. Christy, get it together. Um, Barbara Streisand, Liza Minnelli, and Harry Belafonte all have
Huh.
EGOTs with a Lifetime Achievement Award as the Oscar. So I leave it up to you whether you count to choose that as an EGOT or not. But he has won 2 Emmys, 1 Grammy, and 2 Tonys. One
Hmm.
for The Great White Hope, which we just talked about, and the other is for 1987 August Wilson's play Fences,
Oh, okay.
which was made into a movie with Denzel Washington and Viola Davis, which was amazing, and I loved it. Okay. And then I also talked about the fact that I was pretty sure that he married a white woman, and then there was something with Shakespeare. So here's the lowdown on all of that.
Okay.
He has been married twice. He did meet his first wife, Julianne Marie, in 1968 when he played Othello and she played his Desdemona.
Mm.
So they did meet in that way. They were married for 4 kids, did not, or 4 years, did not have any kids.
Hmm.
So that would have been divorced in 1972. He was single for 10 years.
Oh.
And then again in 1982, he married an actress and singer named Cecilia Hart. And she played Desdemona to his Othello shortly after they were married.
Oh.
So he played Othello, and both of his wives played Desdemona on stage with him, which I thought was fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they were married until she died in 2016.
Hmm.
So they were married for quite a long time, and they had 1 son together. So there are my corrections for my friend James, who I love and adore. He's amazing. Again, I was right that he had a stutter, that reading poetry and acting took that from him, or, in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in the military. Also, he went to the Korean conflict. And
Oh.
yeah, so anyway, he's just an interesting dude, and I adore him. And so I wanted to make sure that I got it right for him because he deserves the truth. He deserves the truth to be told about his amazing accomplishments. And you can go out and look at all of his amazing accomplishments. There are so many. But I just wanted to make sure I got those things right because I got the basics of them right. I was so close. And
Yeah.
considering that autobiography or that biography was written how long ago? Over 30 years ago for sure.
Yeah.
And watch me get that wrong.
Well,
I know I looked it up.
you
Did
did,
we
and you
talk about
told
that?
me. I think you said it was
When was
in
it?
the early 90s.
That's right. It was the early 90s. So I am right to say 30 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you know me well, listener, if you know me well, you know that my memory is shot. So the fact that I got that much right was really impressive.
Yeah. That's
That
true.
is commendable. Yes. Okay. That's all I have to say about James Earl Jones. Sorry about going off topic, but I felt I needed a correction.
It's fine. I think that that's a good segment. I will never correct myself.
You won't?
No.
Can I correct you?
If you want to.
I can do recollection connection for you. Recollection correction.
It just rolls off the tongue, doesn't
Recollection
it?
correction. I'll get used to it. It'll be fine. I think it's fantastic.
Hey, I think it's good too. It's just hard to say.
It is very hard to say. I'm going to have to write it down somewhere in big letters so that I don't have to wear my cheaters to read it. And
There
then
you go.
then I won't trip over it. It'll be better.
Well, Well, hopefully we
So
won't
what are
have
we
to do
watching?
one of those for next week.
I hope not. I can't think of any mistakes I've made so far. Unless someone tells us. But if you do, say it nicely and with much kindness because we're fragile over here.
Yes, yes. We have very thin skin.
Very thin-skinned. All right. Tell me what we're watching next. I am
Next,
excited to hear. I do not know.
yes, I have been thinking about it, and
Okay.
I was like, I really want to watch a Ghibli movie. I
Mm,
think that that would be fun. I'm a big fan of
yes.
animation in general,
Hmm.
um, and you are also a fan of animation,
I do love animation. Yes.
and so I'm like, why not? Let's have some fun, and I think we're gonna go with Princess Mononoke.
Okay. I haven't seen that. That's fun. Princess
Yes,
Mononoke. Have you seen it?
I have seen it. I saw
Okay.
it a long time ago. I saw it in film school, so that would have
Okay.
been 2019 or so.
Okay. Hmm.
I saw it there. That one, it might have been the first one I saw, and for a long time,
Mm,
it was my favorite. That
okay.
has
But something
recently,
has eclipsed it.
yes, Porco
Oh,
Rosso. That is my new favorite.
Grosso.
That
I
one
think
is
you and
very
I
fun.
watched that together, didn't we?
I watched it, and you were doing something. You were like doing a puzzle or something.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
I remember glimpses of it. I was like, I either slept through it or I was doing something else and multitasking. That makes sense.
Yes, I think you were multitasking.
Okay.
Um, so that is currently my favorite.
Okay.
The best one I think is Grave of the Fireflies, and we are never, ever, ever going to do that on this show.
Why is that?
It is the saddest movie I have ever seen in my whole life.
Oh, yeah, I'm not down for that. I don't want sadness.
Yeah, we are not going to do that. We're gonna keep it relatively light.
I like that. I
I,
mean, it's okay to have a little bit, but like, so how would you feel about what's the one, the animated movie that you just watched that's nominated for an Oscar? The Wild Robot.
Wild
Would you
Robot's
watch
great.
that again?
Yeah. No, that's not
Okay.
sad.
It's not sad. It's just
No.
touching and it
Yeah.
brings tears to the eyes. Got
It's a
it.
heartwarming experience.
Well, let me just tell you as a librarian that those books, I was looking at the number, like the books that were checked out the most last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that series is at the like up toward the top of the list. And
Really?
100% it's because of that movie. So
Oh,
I was
sure.
encouraged to see that people are reading the books after seeing the movie. That was great.
That is great. Read
Yeah.
books. Read more books. Why don't you?
Yeah. Read more books. Support your local library.
Yeah. That's a good message to end us on.
It is.
Yeah. So Princess Mononoke, we'll have a lot to talk about probably. Um, like everything that Hayao Miyazaki does, it's very cute.
Oh, I like
There's
cute.
there's cute stuff. It isn't his cutest, but it's
Hmm.
it's it's a cute movie. It's nice.
Okay. Is there a lot of are there a lot of things to pick apart?
I think so.
Or
This
I didn't know if it was like very straightforward or if you have themes and symbolism and that sort
well,
of stuff.
there's things to talk about with that one, but like it's his most political movie, which is
Okay.
odd because it's like a fantasy.
Oh, all
Um,
right.
but it's environmentalist.
Okay.
He's all about preserving nature, and that's a big
Sure.
part of his movies, and this is like a big part of that.
Okay.
Um,
Great theme
so
as
yeah,
we've had snow in the
uh,
southern United States.
it's been lovely here in Minnesota.
Oh, no, it hasn't.
It's been just absolutely
It's been so cold.
yeah. I
I
think
mean, if I'm frozen in Iowa, you have to be really frozen in Minnesota.
yes, I think the other day I was out in the heat of the day. It felt like -30.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yep.
That's rough.
It's not been fun, but
No.
it's been okay.
Well, and you like winter,
I
so
do.
would you rather have that than 100 degrees?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. No, I
Yeah.
like the weather here.
Hmm.
But, it shouldn't be snowing in Florida.
It shouldn't be snowing in Florida, although I have been very much enjoying watching all the dogs playing out in the snow.
Well,
I don't know if
that's
you've seen
nice.
any of those videos. It's
I've
like, they've never experienced snow. It's so fun. And they're running. They got snow on their noses. It's so cute. I love dog videos. That and people falling down, which I know is a terrible thing to like, but I really do like when people fall down. And I bet you I have not found any, but I bet there are
Hmm,
a lot of really funny people falling in the snow because they're not used to being having
probably.
slick stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not very nice, but I do think they're funny. And so much so, like people know that about me and will send me videos of people falling down. Kind of known for it.
Well, as a kid, we always used to watch America's Funniest Home Videos, so that
That's
makes
right.
sense.
And do you remember what we called it?
No.
You don't?
I remember AFV.
Uh, so in our family, it was called the Fall Down Show.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you came up with that actually.
Oh,
Yeah, you were like, "Can we watch the Fall Down Show?" It was so
that makes
cute.
sense.
And so that's what we called it. And every week we would put a blanket on the floor and we would make Totino's frozen pizza and we would sit on the carpet on a blanket and watch the Fall Down Show. That's good memories for me.
Yeah, those were the days.
Those
That was
were the
probably the peak
days.
of my life.
You think so? I hope not. I hope that's not the peak. I hope you have yet to reach your peak.
Well, we'll see. We'll just see about that. But who knows? Maybe next week's episode, talking about Princess Mononoke, will be the
Yeah,
peak.
maybe it will.
Wouldn't that be
Who
nice?
knows? Who knows what we have in store for us? I'm very
Yeah.
excited. Second question. Is this something I can stream? Please tell me it's something I can stream.
It's on Max. All Ghibli movies are on
Hey.
Max.
Okay.
And you should watch the dub.
Oh, okay.
That is something
Okay.
that I don't know if it is controversial, but
Mm.
I'm going to say that every single Ghibli movie is better dubbed because they get stellar voice casts.
Oh, okay. Oh, I do know this. Like
Yes.
really high powered A-list celebrities
Yes.
do their voices, which I love that.
Yeah, I think
That's great.
Howl's Moving Castle, which is another great one we might do, has Billy
Hmm.
Crystal and Christian
Mm.
Bale. I forget. There's someone else. Someone plays the bad guy and is like a legendary actor. So
Oh, love it.
I don't know. They always knock it out of the park. So
Yeah, I love that. I
I'm
think
excited.
I am excited because Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan are going to do something together, and I don't know what it is, but I've been seeing pictures of them online together, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if they're going to do a reboot of When Harry Met Sally, I will die. It is my very most favorite movie, and Flicks, the local theater is going to be
Mm,
doing a screening of When Harry Met Sally
oh,
on February 13th, and I am going, and I don't care if I have to go by myself. I am going to go, but I think I'm going to be able to find people to drag with me, and I just
probably.
cannot wait. But it's not going to be your dad because he's going to be in Miami. So I will
Oh.
find other people for Valentine's Day to go with me to When Harry Met Sally at the theater. I saw it originally at the theater
Oh,
back in the
hell.
day. And it was a
Wow.
date with someone, and I hadn't been dating them very long. And that scene was very awkward because we did not know each other well enough to sit and watch a scene like that together. Oh boy. Okay. Sorry, that's another tangent.
No.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah, that just put a really great image in my mind though of like a really young you in high school
Yep.
or something.
Yep.
Oh man,
High school.
yeah,
High school. High school Christy. But I love that movie so much. I
it's
really
good.
do. When people ask me my favorite movie, it's that and Field of Dreams, I think, are my two most favorite movies.
Those are
I
not
love
bad
them.
picks.
They are not. I love them and I adore them. And I like what I have discovered of myself is that I just like things that make me feel good and that give me faith in humanity.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, that's another James Earl Jones reference right there with the Field of Dreams. Oh, James. But like I need things that make me feel good about people,
Mm-hmm.
and those movies do. So I love that.
Good.
Anyway, nothing dark for me. Well, I mean, I'll watch them, but they're never going to be my favorite movie.
Well, then I think
Forrest Gump is like that too. I love Forrest Gump too,
Forrest
and that
Gump
one
is
has
like
that redeeming
mm,
feeling.
that's
Sorry.
something that I think you'll really like about Ghibli movies in general,
Good.
and maybe something that I think Miyazaki is really really good at is maybe his like biggest strength is that he like believes in people. And
Mm,
like
that's nice.
that's something that always like he does in his movies is like the protagonist kindness is their biggest strength. It is never ever portrayed as like a weakness or as like some way
Mm.
to get exploited. It is like those are the people that are great. Those are like the people that you should look up to. And like it's just like so beautiful. All of
I
his
love
movies
that.
have a great message. So
I love that.
I'm
That
very
speaks to my
excited.
heart. I
Yeah,
love that. I'm excited about this. This will be good.
it'll be great.
Yeah.
So
I'm pumped.
that'll be next week. As
Okay.
for other things that are going on, check out Boy Time, both the Boy Time podcast and Boy Time main channel. That is the stuff that I do without my dear mother.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're into music or any of the other things, I do talk about movies on the Boy Time podcast. So if you're into that, if you're into me, I don't really get why, because I'm not really the pull of the show. But
Oh, you're a delight. If people say otherwise, they are wrong. They are just wrong.
well, the
You are sunshine and cheeriness and loveliness, and your mom loves you.
well, I'm glad about that. But we did name the show after you, so I don't think anyone is like, well, we gotta watch the show where the boring guy talks about dumb stuff that nobody cares
No,
about.
no, no. We are equals. We have good conversations, and we are equal contributors. And that's what makes it great because we equally contribute. You have things to say, I have things to say. We come from two different generations,
That's
and it
right.
just makes for good conversation. This is a conversational podcast.
That it is, and it
Yes.
is a good podcast. But the
Yes,
Boy Time podcast is also a good podcast that you should check out.
it is.
I
But
ta-
I'm not on it.
You're not on it. Instead, my friend Bebby is, who does all the Boy Time stuff
Yes,
with me. So
that's right.
check out Boy Time. It's a lot of fun and cool stuff. But that's all the
Hmm.
stuff I have to plug.
Okay. I don't have anything to plug. Go to your local library again. I think I'm probably going to start saying that every week because libraries are very important and we need your support. So please come and use them.
Yeah,
It helps with funding, and we are a safe place for everyone. So please come and visit us at the library. We would love to see you. You will find a
absolutely.
smiling face.
Yes. I have been trying to convince people my age to go because
Mm,
I'm like, it is important. It's a good
it
social
is.
service that needs love and attention.
That's right. I could do a whole hour on that, but I'm not going to because people didn't come here to hear about the library, but just go to it because you'll be surprised at what you find.
Yeah. So that's the library plug. But do you have anything
Yes.
else you want to leave the viewers with?
Are you all done talking?
Yeah. I was prompting you to do your new outro.
But my new outro has to happen like very impromptu right at the end. Like you're talking, and then I jump in with it. So
Oh,
do some talkie, and then I'll jump in.
talkie about what?
I don't know. Like it was great seeing y'all. Mom, I love you. I'm so happy you're here. That's all I have to say. And then I'd be like, jump in with my outro.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, do it.
I'm going to leave all this
Make
in,
sure
by
you
the
say,
way.
make sure you, that's fine. Make sure you say the part about loving your mother. Okay, here we go. I'm ready.
And action.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all that we have today. Thank you, everybody, for listening or watching. Wherever you're at, it really helps out. Thank you for subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and rating our stuff on all of our audio places. And, just tell your mom you love her. That's all I have to say.
Go call your mom. You don't say go. You don't say tell your mom you love her. You say I love my mom. You should say I love my mom, and then I'll be like, so go call your mom, like that. Go call your mom.
You're so angry about it.
Well, I'll say it nicely. Hey, go call your mama. Tell her you love her.
Are you making
Moms
moose
always like to
antlers?
hear that. What?
Doing like this.
My headphones were falling off.
Oh.
Moose head.
That's a good ending, I think.
Okay.